Good evening, travelers of the night. Welcome back to The Stranger Season 3, where the immersion of an audio drama meets the chaos and uncertainty that is Dungeons & Dragons. Today we are joined by ex-Inquisitor Matt as Nihilus von Stonen.
I swear, it only happened the one time. I never have performance issues. My water is clear.
Asteria as Dr. Isadora Glass.
Totally in control of the situation. Never mind the cocktail shaker you all saw me bring into session.
We are also joined by Wit as Gilfaith.
Remember, folks, kindness is the dance that reverberates in the hearts of humanity.
So without further ado, let's get into today's session. Nihilus von Stonen and Gilfaith, you parted ways with Dr. Hypatius Singer. Dr. Glass had made a deal with the help of Lord Felix Royce. That deal was the release of Dr. Hypatius Singer for the in-person meeting between Dr. Isadora Glass and Lady Evelyn Van Thorn. And you watched as a procession of guards stood to either side as, like a prisoner trade, Hypatius Singer was released from the Citadel and Dr. Isadora Glass was let in. And we astutely recall the numerous visions and warnings from Esper that, should Dr. Glass arrive at the Citadel, it initiates the end of all things. But nothing's ended. It's still rainy outside. And as you breach the doors to that central spire and enter the elevator, you find the lever that operates the lift and press it down to descend deeper and deeper into the ground, where nobility lives close to their exploits. That is, the mines that they dig for the exploitation of the resource called broom. Wealth, you see, is potentially dangerous, and when few hold great wealth, well, that can change everything. And as the lift reaches the last door before the mines, you know this is where the wealthiest will be. And as that door opens, you see rolling fields of soft grass and a light in the center of this carved cavern that almost imitates the sun. Hell, you even hear birdsong. And this is a contrast because the island is sparse and stark. Salt permeates the air. It burns your lungs. It's hard to find water. And here, a river flows freely. As you step out of the elevator, just a few paces ahead of you, you see a man standing, as if waiting for you. Just far enough to be out of earshot. You recognize him. Nihilus, you recognize him. This man is Father Patrick, an elderly priest of the Order of the Testimonium, who followed you onto the island, concerned about your safety. And there he stands.
Gilfaith, I need to take a moment. This place, that person, and he's gonna try try to quickly hide himself to the corner of the elevator, try to act as if Father Patrick hasn't seen him, and he kind of like pushes Gilfait. You talk to him. I can't for a moment. I need to breathe.
Don't be silly. And Gilfait prestidigitates the rein off of Nihilus. And himself, wringing out his tailcoat that he picked up from the ground. I'll go with you. Come on.
What? Not again. How come I find him at the rarest of occasions? I need to make sure. And he steps forward. Father Patrick, is that you?
Nihilus?
Well, yes.
So wonderful to see you again.
It is magnificent to see you as well, but how, what, why, how come every time I see you this happens?
Yes, I'm sure you didn't expect me, but I'm, of course, not here as a friend to guide you, but a captive to lead you.
I see. Are you injured? Are you taken care of?
I'm well taken care of. Not even the dark souls that live beneath the ground would harm a man of the cloth.
That's wonderful to hear. Father Patrick, this is Gilfait Wolverton, a lovely man.
I've heard. He steps towards you, crunching the grass beneath his feet as he pinches at the robe that you're wearing and pulls it closer to inspect the cloth.
Lovely to meet you as well.
Paying no mind to Gilfait, he looks up from the cloth to Nihilus. You have a stain.
You can see it, huh? Not much hiding. But for a second he looks like it is actual clothes, but you know, just to check he doesn't actually mean his clothes. Yeah.
You can't represent the testimonium with stained cloth. You should remove it.
Father Patrick, a lot has happened. I missed your guiding. At this point, I'm not even sure I can represent the testimonium.
Your cloth is stained, Nihilus. You should remove it.
He does so.
He takes the Inquisitor's robe, and he folds it neatly in his hands and drapes it over his arm. Very good. I'm told that you will be having counsel with Lady Evelyn Vanthorne.
Right. Need to find out what she wants, what her aim, the goal is. There's so much going on around this island. What even is this place? I heard about it. City under a city. But this is something else.
On an island so treacherous as Crow's Perch, the nobles, they prefer separation. Godless, they are. All of them.
And I suppose it is up to us to enlighten them, huh?
Up to me. Yes. And he turns and walks ahead of you to lead the way.
There's grunt, a gristle, a tongue-biting, endeavoring emotion that goes through Nihilus hearing that comment, and how truthfully painful it is as he follows.
Crosses cobblestone path to a little bridge that goes over a brook. It's all so aesthetic and serene and To anybody who says money can't buy happiness, it can buy paradise. That's at least the sense you get here. And you approach a opulent castle, traditional castle. You'd imagine from the fantasy stories in a world that's not so dark. The gates, they part for you. And you see Father Patrick wave his hand, thanking the guards are elite. And as you enter into a courtyard, through the main gates, down opulent corridors lined with gold, you reach a room not like the others, whereas the rest is wooden doors and marble and gold inlay and statues, paintings and portraits and red carpets that roll out as far as the eye can see. The door to this room is metal. Father Patrick, he pulls the heavy metal latch, and even he is strained as an elderly man doing this, but he succeeds and he pulls the door open. And inside, you see a wooden table, equally as opulent, carved from crow wood, black inlay, a material only made on this island, made to survive the heavy salt in the air, is better used in building structures for the needy than furniture for the opulent. But here we are, sitting at the table is Lady Evelyn Vanthorne, Dr. Isadora Glass, and a third, with a hood over his head and a cloth cowl that drapes, clearly intentionally obscuring the face. Nihilus, this is where I'm to lead you. Saurus, bless you.
I'll see you again, Father Patrick. We'll work things out.
He chokes on his words to try to find the right thing to say before simply turning his head and allowing you to walk into the room before he closes the door behind you.
He kind of mumbles under his breath. Gilfate would be able to hear as he looks around. There's all this money and wealth, yet there's poverty and sickness and illness so close to it. I've never seen so much wrong in so much place at once.
One reason why I did not want to come here in the first place.
Dr. Glass raises an eyebrow and her drink and looks at Nihilus and just opens a mental channel expectantly. When neither of them say anything, he would hear in his mind, Hypatia, Nihilus. What happened with Hypatia?
He gives a simple nod as he starts approaching, and simultaneously in his mind he says, "It is done. She's smart. She's on her way to Jane as we speak. It's the best thing, or the best place we can think of at this moment. Try to focus on the now." As he looks around, the now is quite important.
Oh, thank you, Nihilus. I'd forgotten.
Gilfaith coming into his element more with the likes of gatherings of nobles. He steps forward a little bit more empowered and places the fine wine on the table and speaks up. Thank you for your invitation today, Lady Vanthorne.
Of course, Gilfaith. It is an honor that you've accepted and received it. Please take some tea. He
picks up a piece of the china and begins to slowly stir in a very small amount of sugar and looks expectantly to Nihilus.
Nihilus stands for a moment as continues to approach. Glad to see that everyone's alive. I suppose this is a warm invite then, or matters to discuss of which or what? As he starts to sit down.
Well, first let me not be rude to my guest. Gilfaith, you have accepted my invitation. And I wonder, do you know why I've invited you here?
I can only speculate, my lady.
Please, speculate for me. I'm curious.
As far as know I've been.
My speculation comes to the fact that you have become privy of my presence on your island, and you are also aware of who my father is. Am I on the correct train of thought, Lady Van Thorn?
Wonderful. I'm glad that you know enough, despite not having been raised in nobility.
He nods with dark intent under his eyes as he is in the presence of someone that represents a life that he despises.
I'd like for you to roll insight, please.
As he looks around the room, he watches the features of Lady Van Thorn's face very carefully. But with a 9, what does he find?
It's not Lady Evelyn Van Thorn who piques your interest, but it's this mysterious figure cloaked at the end of the table. With a 9, true insight isn't gained except that he could be 20 feet tall just as easily with the presence that he emanates for you. Just for you, it feels like a grand figure.
And I speculate too that this could also be the first time that I have experienced this type of observation in someone due to timing.
I would say so. And Lady Evelyn Van Thorn, she stands from her chair and she begins pacing the room. I'm sure you all are wondering why we're sitting in a round room at the bottom of the earth and discussing all together. I'll enlighten you. Crow's Perch is not going to survive. Is there any surprise amongst the crowd?
What does that mean? Survive? Why? In what way? So many questions to that phrase. But based on how things have been going so far, I'm not surprised.
As she rounds the table, almost like a game of duck, duck, goose, she's tapping each shoulder until now stopping on Nihilus and putting her hand on his shoulder. Well, I saw you got that device running in the bunker. Did you happen to look into it, read its contents?
Pretty sure I did.
Then you would know. This has all happened before.
I know, I read the schematics, but there's more to it. The entire island got taken over, yet it's in none of the history books. It seems like it happened ages ago, yet the technology is similar or even advanced. Doesn't make sense.
It's not the technology, Nihilus. So astute you are, you missed the obvious. The island was overtaken, and all people here perished. And the saturation, it came early. It's here early again. It's not let up. This is the end for everyone. They don't know it up there yet.
Yet you do.
And you, are you safe down here?
I certainly am.
I've simply refused to accept that the saturation has this island being a possible coffin for me, and for each of us here. As well as for the rest of them, up top. Gilfaith takes his tea and goes and sits in the chair next to that figure. Turning his head to where his ear is facing towards him.
Not the end of everyone. The end of everyone on Crow's Perch, correct? You said Crow's Perch was coming to an end.
I should start with... You're all going to die here today.
Mm-hmm.
So, I see no harm in at least telling you why.
But you told Felix I wouldn't be hurt at your hand. Could there have been a clever ruse in the exact wording of that?
That's not clever. I was just having fun.
I know, but it either fooled him or he thought it would fool me. Can you imagine?
Your first mistake was thinking that Felix is out there to help you.
No, I didn't think that. I just saw a situation that would be advantageous to me, and I used what was at my disposal.
What's interesting is Felix has so much potential. He's a lot like me.
I know, doesn't he? It's such a shame, such a waste. Wait, is he a lot like you?
Some call me fair, and those same would call me vicious.
Yes.
You can be both, and Felix, he embodies those qualities too. So now that you know that you won't survive the day, I've learned so much on this island. I've dug so deep, I've found so many countless artifacts of time long ago. You see, there were people here before, but that's only the half of it. There were people here long ago. Very, very long ago. And my miners, they found something. They found an old temple far beneath the spire. I know it's a temple because there were pews and an altar. So whoever they were, they worshipped like the rest of us.
Do you worship, Lady Evelyn?
I used to.
Maybe they were just admirers of the arts, like Mr. Wolverton's dance. Who's to say it wasn't an ancient theater?
To be honest, that was the first thought to come to mind.
Well, so this was all a misunderstanding then. Thank you for the tea, though.
Religion is a lot like theater, isn't it?
Sorry, Nihilus.
What did you worship? Or whom, Lady Evelyn?
I tried it all. The Source Testimonium, so interesting. One creator. What are the legends? A book cast into the sea that has all of the answers in it, but we can never reach it? And what do? They search for it. And where does that search lead them? Except their blades into the bellies of those who don't agree. That's the Source Testimonium for you. Or the Sundered Divide. God is within all of us. So optimistic. So we must hurt others and ourselves.
You sound like my father.
I didn't know that. How interesting.
Glad I can still surprise you.
In the mountain, beneath our feet, is something truly incredible. And you, Dr. Glass, you started as a liability, and now you present as an opportunity.
That's a little bit insulting. I like to think of myself as a liability, but I have to apologize, especially for Nihilus and myself with all we've been through. You did tell us in advance that you're just going to kill us at the end, so it a little bit took away our incentive to politely listen. But I am very interested in what you have to say. I will try to curb my quips.
Yeah, I think what Dr. Glass is saying, that we surely believe there'll be a point to whatever you're saying.
It's just that all of it's very interesting, but
I was just trying to be gracious, but we could just skip to the end.
No, we're enjoying the ride.
So I'm an opportunity.
The fear is in my bones, truly. You've got me quivering.
Fair.
You are genuinely terrifying, but I'm a compartmentalizer. As a therapist, I've managed to weaponize my own psyche fairly well. But you are approaching the topics that fill me with dread. So continue. The mountain.
Yes.
My opportunity.
Oh, of course. And she goes around the table and puts her hand on Gilfaith's shoulders. And Gilfaith, I was so surprised to see you come in with these two. You've really put yourself together with a dastardly bunch. But the outcome was all the same to begin with. You too were meant to die here today. Though you are also a delight, and I apologize. I respect the arts.
He smiles a coy smile and says, "Is there no room for entertainment in the apocalypse?"
I don't like unpredictability. And I wish I had your other friends here. Trevor and Esper, because they too are very dangerous, but 2 out of 4, now 3 out of 5 is good enough for now. You don't know how many have met the same fate so far.
Unfortunately, you are too late for their fate. They did not make it.
Please roll deception.
Very well.
DC of also 18. This is a very astute character.
Rolled a 13 for a total of 12. As he says so with a saddened face, and he tries to immediately put his hand over his face to not show his emotions too much.
So quick to abandon your morals, yet so eager to defend your friends. Also interesting.
Isadora's... She's put down her drink and is looking at her in a new way. Dastardly. You really think that about us, don't you? You think you're the good guy. And we're the baddies.
I think I'm just trying to survive the apocalypse.
So why stay on the island? Surely, with all your wealth, access, abilities, You must have ways in order to get through the saturation.
But this is the only place she's a Van Thorn.
That is true. This is where she can rule the dead. What will be left to rule?
This is the only place she can step on the king's crown.
I think everyone who survives will thank me for my efforts here. But there are those out there who will wantonly try to protect their souls. And their vie for survival could destroy everybody else's. That's you. You're the loose dog on the island, killing wantonly without a plan.
With loose, you mean free, right? One's not under enslavement by being forced to work into the mines or being forced into harsh environments or barely scraping by.
Then they would be free to die. Those with power and without a plan are dangerous. Let's not abridge the conclusion. She steps to the side and grabs onto one of the portraits on the wall, kind of leans against it with her hand hanging from it. And that mysterious figure pulls his chair out, and he too stands. He goes to another side where there's a second portrait, and he hooks his hand over it as well, and as his hand comes out from the cowl, you see it's gray and withered.
Oh no. That's out of character. But Isadora Glass says, so send us packing. I did what I came here to do. None of us planned on getting salted in. Surely you have some special Van Thorn salt boat that can get us back to where we came from.
If only that were possible. Saturation, it would destroy any vessel that tries to leave.
Surely that you would be capable of looking about this room and seeing the potential of everyone that stands before you. The usefulness, the unbridled capabilities that inhabit this room, the talent. If such a disaster is coming, then we should all be working together. Why would you throw such brilliance away?
I'm going to call for a persuasion check, and the DC is going to be 22 on that persuasion check. You can get help from anybody in the group, and this check is going to determine the future of this campaign.
Nihilus will try to help by saying the next words. I think that's exactly where she's trying to get to, Gilfaith. Like wild dogs. Without a plan, you say. Perhaps there is one. As that is his help action.
And in his mind, he hears, I see. You weren't spoiled by that noble breeding that ruins minds. And he has bardic inspiration.
He smiles and replies back to Dr. Glass. Definitely not. He responds to Nihilus. I agree. And with his first roll without advantage, we have 23, and without using bardic inspiration. And with the next roll, we have a 21. I'm going to accept that and hold on to that bardic inspiration.
It's very astute. And then seriously and intentionally, she looks you in the eyes and says, Yes. Yes, if you're powerful, then you're useful. Show me that you're powerful. And maybe we can work together. And a sickly old voice from behind the cowl begins. Gilfaith. And that voice, it grabs onto your mind.
Chancellor Legrand. So good to hear your voice.
Grab them.
What? Standing where he is, without moving, Gilfaith reaches out his arms and performs 2 touch attacks as unarmed strikes to hold them in their place without even moving towards them, with a reach of 15 feet.
Glass and stone and us?
Yes, glass and stone. Mm-hmm.
It's Von Stonen. Thank you, people.
I know, but it's my nickname for us. Von Stone and Glass. Sorry, I'm ruining it.
All right, you do what? What do you what? You do what?
He's apprehending us.
I just basically am grabbing. Do you want me to roll athletics or roll to attack? To grab?
It's first has to be noted if it's being contested, but Dr. Glass and Nihilus von Stonen, there is a grab at you.
Like a physical or magical, telekinetic?
A shadow from his arms reaches out and grabs you, but it is physical.
The way Dr. Glass contests it is by saying, "I'm surprised you haven't asked us about your son, Lady Evelyn."
Nihilus will resist. Physically.
Please roll persuasion. DC of 22.
That is a 29 persuasion for Dr. Glass.
Oh, hot damn!
Yes. Nice.
It's the only thing higher than my insight.
You see as she slides her hand along the top of the portrait as if seeking something in the crevice between the portrait and the wall, and she stops. What of my son?
I wondered if that's what all of this was really about. We know who has him. We saw him. I didn't see what became of him, but we spoke to him and I tried to help him.
He's a good boy, but lost. A tragedy. I sent him to Mordecai not to return.
You sent him to Faust.
Yes, I tried with him. I thought that perhaps Faust's medicine might make a difference.
So you thought you were sending him to St. Seraphina's, or did you know he was going to be at the prison?
With Mordecai, of course.
Yet instead, it is Mordecai who has returned, as he removes a bit of his flannel and shows the hanging skull.
Where's my son?
Why, you send him to Mordecai, right? So he's with Mordecai. Oh, wait, Mordecai's right here.
The last I saw him, I was leaving the prison. I had offered him a chance to come with me and get clean, as they say. He did not leave the prison with me. I had thought that a great sadness. But now, from what you tell me, perhaps that was your plan, and...
Paying no mind to Dr. Glass, she walks by, she lets go of the portrait, and she steps towards around the outskirts of the room. Where's my son? Looking at the skull and looking back into your eyes. What have you done?
He moves the cloth back in front of the skull again, disrupting any eye contact between Mordecai and Lady Evelyn. He says, well, aren't you supposed to know? I thought you had all the answers.
chairs of the room. They're all at the same time thrust back against the walls, several of them shattering the wood of the chairs. There is a torrent that starts to pick up within the room. You see her hair starting to whip. Where's my son? And she now is not walking. She's floating towards you, Nihilus, as she reaches out her hand and grabs it around the tuft of your clothes.
I telekinetic shove the guy in the cowl.
Is that a saving throw?
Yes, a strength saving throw versus my DC, which is 15. I don't know what is happening, but I know everything's happening.
You go to shove him, and he doesn't move. His feet stay planted in the ground, but his cowl pull back with the telekinesis that forces in his direction. And you see this withered old face, this pale gray skin, these teeth that are bared in the front like fangs, and these pointed ears to the side. And his demeanor is that of somebody who has seen everything of all time. He is old beyond old.
Well, what if you just increase my wisdom as a treat? By 2. So my DC is...
The monster my mother saw.
I need everybody to roll initiative.
Why is it always that when I have good decks, my initiative rolls are garbage? And now I rolled a 19. I mean, I'm not mad, but it's just so weird.
I got a total of 3.
14, I believe it was.
Asteria 19, Wit 14, and Nihilus 3. And one character in this room is moving faster than anybody else here, with an initiative of 27.
Oh. I thought it was me.
Nihilus. That is a 25 and a 36 to hit.
Certainly hits.
Dr. Glass.
Yeah.
A base roll of 2 with a 21 to hit.
Wait. What? So they have a plus 19 to hit is what you're...
Base roll of 2 and a 21 to hit.
Yeah. 21 hits.
And Wit, a 28.
It hits.
That would be so cool if we found out a 28 doesn't hit kill.
Where's that AC monster build?
I'm just going to do average damage for expediency.
Wait, they got 1 hit, I got 2? But
It's 4 hits total.
You're the tank.
what the?
You're the default tank this season.
I'm a wizard.
And she grabs on to Nihilus's cloth.
This is Evelyn?
Yes, it's Evelyn.
So hot. Okay. Please let me fuck her this season.
You see as her skin, it flashes in black. You see flashing between the visage of Lady Evelyn Vanthorn and the visage of a dangerous, dark hunter. And the visage of all people. You see her face morph to the old farmer, to the wealthy noble, to the deckhand. And as her eyes glow brighter and brighter to a piercing white light, there's an explosion in your chest, Nihilus. Not 1, but 2. Each one doing average damages. 22. She looks towards Gilfaith. 22. Dr. Glass. 22. As explosions begin peppering the room. You think you're the cosmic horrors? You think you're the danger? You haven't even scratched the surface!
As Niles' head falls backwards into an unconsciousness. As he is unconscious.
Nihilus, I need you to roll a D100.
A total of 53.
The DC I set was 50, a 50-50 chance. This is going to be a little bit abstract, but bear with me.
All good. I'm just grabbing my second character.
I hope he's got physical stats.
Nihilus, all you saw was the hand grab at you, and you felt bang, bang, as flesh and bits of your body explode outward from your chest. If there is a second to process in your head, it's processing this has to be the end, because this is the most sudden and terrible gore that has ever erupted in this campaign in your life. And in that flash, immediately you're unconscious. How could you be? Your insides have just been torn out. And then you hear...
Nihilus.
And you're alive with 1 point of health.
That hurt like a motherfucker.
You look down at your skin that's pale and bloodless. As Dr. Glass, it's your turn.
This was why I wanted just the two of us to talk, Lady Evelyn. Two sensible women. Could you describe the face of the cowled man?
It's long and withered. The skin is both wrinkled and tight over old bones.
But it's like all one piece. It's not
One face?
it's not like Frankenstein's monstery. How corpse-like does it look?
It looks to be hanging on the edge of life as if kept in a mausoleum for 10,000 years.
Thank you. Okay. I am going to... I'm not going to healing word. I don't have that many slots. This is why I wanted to talk to you, just you and me, Lady Evelyn. Two sensible women. And I clenched my fist to punctuate the frustration. I cast Sacred Flame on both her and her undead friend, because I can target both as a lunar sorcerer. And it's my attitude towards Lady Evelyn is sort of like shoving her back. I have no illusions that I'm actually going to hurt this woman. It's just sort of like, hey, ow. So that's a DC 15 Dex save for 13 radiant.
Lady Evelyn Van Thorn. She has a natural 1. And this other figure, a 14. How much damage is that?
13 radiant.
Lady Evelyn Van Thorn, you see it emerges as maybe a light glow, a sear on her skin. It's almost effectless on her. But this other figure, he burns. You see immediately his skin ignites as if gasoline being ignited, and you see it go up his body, and you hear... But he's still up. He's not bloodied. You see burn marks now stretching up his body. You hear, Gilfaith, get them.
I would like to bonus action use my telekinetic shove, but pull her towards me.
That's a 26. But as you cast this pull, you see her clothes rustle as it grips and it immediately gets pulled away. And she turns her head towards you, and then the rest of her body, and she starts taking those steps for you. What is it? You wanted my attention, now you have it.
I thought you wanted mine. I know I'm useless.
You are useless. But once despair has seeped under your skin, you will be far more useful.
I know all about despair and desperation. Yep. All those expectedly human motivations. If that's what you want to talk about, then talk to me. I came here for your mind, not to read it or control it, but because I suspect it's fascinating. Perhaps I'm nothing to you except whatever parlor tricks the void planted in me. But I think you're a little bit smarter than that. Play with the boys later.
I'm going to call a persuasion check. Just like the last time, this is a critical check that will change the direction of this story, of this campaign, and at least this moment. It's a DC of 22.
I don't have any way of helping myself, even if I had any action economy left. But exactly 22.
Oh my god. Oh. Can be out of initiative if you like.
This combat sucks, guys.
All right, we're out of initiative. So
I love combat, but fuck, we haven't even gotten to the golem. That was just her. That was just this mean old broad. How old is she? She's like 70? I said 80, unfortunately. She's a little older than me. Or younger. Her son's not that old. I'm sorry. I'm so keyed up.
she should be in her 70s from what you know about her, but she definitely presents like she is taking good care of herself. She looks in her 40s at best.
She's 300. So she's older than me, but she looks way younger. Okay, gotcha.
She takes several steps towards you, and we are out of combat, but we're not out of danger, as she grabs on to Dr. Glass's tuft of cloth and looks towards the other person in the room and says, "Nihilus! Gilfaith! Get Nihilus!"
Gilfaith walks over to Nihilus, lifts him up to his feet.
And she grabs Dr. Glass and drags her back to where she was standing with the portrait. Powerless here, the strength that she possesses is 10 times, 20 times the strongest man you've met. She runs her finger along it, and you hear a click as the floor, everywhere but where she is standing and where this other figure is standing, drops. Beneath you, in what seems like an endless pit into the ground. In fact, it's just darkness that you see the moment that your feet fail you and you feel your feet coming up to your chest as gravity takes you down. Gilfaith and Nihilus, at best you have a reaction.
And I think we have unlocked a primal, just human Dr. Glass fear. And you hear her scream.
I summon thee, the lightest of feathers. Nihilus casts Featherfall.
She turns her head to Nihilus and Gilfaith. And, Dr. Glass, you recognize this magic. Counterspell. Her eyes brightly flash again, that blinding light. And as your spell, as it whisks into the air and comes to guide you to a safe...
It's so hot, though.
A safe landing, those skeletal hands that have previously been summoned, they crumble into dust beneath you. Are you doing anything else? Can you do anything else?
He's gonna do his best as he falls down to grab a health potion from his backpack and drink it.
Okay.
We're all falling together?
No. He stands on his small jut-out platform by this painting that he holds onto, and you are dangling from the air, being held by Lady Evelyn Vanthorne. Now, her attention no longer on Nihilus and Gilfaith who are falling. She looks at you.
Gilfaith uses Misty Step and lands on top of the Chancellor.
Interesting. You use Misty Step. Immediately you flash out of existence and to the platform where the Chancellor is, and you grab onto him. And Lady Evelyn Van Thorn, she looks you in the eyes, and then you see a grin on her face start to appear. Entertainment. Let's see what happens as she turns her head to this golem who is being held onto by Gilfaith. Gilfaith, what are you doing there?
Chancellor, please. You have to save the one that just fell too. Lady Evelyn, he was right. The thing about wild dogs is they can still be trained. And he casts calm emotions.
On him?
Evelyn and the Chancellor.
Interesting.
It's an area effect. It's underrated.
There's two choices that you can choose. This one, I'm choosing the effect that says the target is no longer hostile toward creatures of my choice. They have to pass a check.
What's the DC?
It's a saving throw, and I assume it is my spell save DC of 15.
Okay. When you use magic, when you cast spells, you know when they have reached their destination. You know when you've touched the soul of the person you are trying to reach. And with a DC of 15, of course, Lady Evelyn Van Thorn, she passes. But he fails. And his demeanor, though frequently blank, it lets up, and you see a tension release in the muscles in his face. And he looks down towards you.
Gilfaith, what's happened?
An innocent man is now plummeting to his death, assuredly. Is there anything you can do?
You're holding on to him. The amount of space to stand on this ledge is so minimal. Your foot just slips the edge a little bit and you see some rock crumble. And he looks down past you.
There's nothing I can do. He's too far. Why are you here?
I would ask you the same question. What business do you have with the Van Thorns?
None. He looks up, and his eyes go wide as he sees Lady Evelyn Van Thorn holding Dr. Glass. You're recognizing he is actively perceiving the room.
That woman has helped me reach this point. He gestures toward Dr. Glass.
Lady Van Thorn, what's the meaning of this?
Oh, nothing. Let's just wait a few minutes longer. It'll all be okay. This magic, it lasts up to a minute, and you're actively concentrating on it. You can feel your attunement to the arcane gripping on to the soul of this creature. But your grip will not last forever.
Please, we have to get out of here.
Just go, Gilfaith.
For one as ancient as this, he panics. With someone with such experience and age, with a locked metal door and a round room with its floor fallen out, and he too, with his experience, can recognize that there is some magical effect that he is under right now. His speed of cognition is moving ever so quickly. And he says, "Hold on." And he lets go and grabs onto you as he falls along with you. Too bad. I had purpose for that one. You wanted to talk. It's just us gals now.
I just dangle and clutch her wrists. There are tears rolling down my face as I try not to have a full panic attack. You told me not to be afraid, Lady Evelyn. Why would you tell me not to do the thing you like most?
I told you not to be afraid. But I didn't tell you there's no cause for fear. I thought it would make it easier for you.
You underestimate me. Every turn.
And now? Have I underestimated you?
Probably.
I meant what I said. If you survive, I'll have purpose for you. Any last words?
I meant what I said. All of it. I don't think about the future, Lady Evelyn. That was someone else. I deal with the puzzles in front of me.
I'll offer you one more secret. She looks down, almost as if looking to see something if she can see it. It's just darkness down there. I lost your aunt. She escaped me. She's down there somewhere. If you survive, maybe you'll be reunited.
What's wrong with you?
And she lets go.
Can't you see what's... And her screams, she falls, is so loud. She can't hear it herself. It's all she can hear. It's how scared she was when Nyla saved her. It was the scariest part of that whole thing, was the movement. But I think the thing she feels the most in that moment is anger at Lady Evelyn for being so stupid, for not even talking to her after all of that.
Nihilus, you were the first to fall. It's far.
How far?
The stone and metal paved room becomes dirt, becomes gravel, becomes stone as you fall deeper and deeper into this mountain. You could have multiple actions. It's so far. Now, first of all, you're falling alone. It's just you. Gilfaith survived as far as to fall later. Dr. Glass, she survived the longest so far as to fall last. And as you fall through this black void of a cavern deeper and deeper into the earth, I'll say you have two actions. What would you like to do?
Very well. This first one, as it is absolutely dark, and although he cannot see anything, it doesn't matter. His first reaction, immediately as he can try again, he will cast Featherfall again, slowing his descent down to 60 feet around instead of 500 feet around.
You cast Featherfall. Maybe Nihilus still envisions this as feathers, but it's happened enough times that you know that's not what to expect. As skeletal hands start shooting out of the side of this cavern, and as you fall, you're crashing through them like crashing through sticks and branches, and more continue to pierce the earth, the long dead, until finally your fall slows enough to be grabbed onto by some of them, and your fall slows. Now you have one more action if you're going to use it.
The spell, Featherfall, slows down the descent 60 feet around. In his mindset now, he's slowing down. He possibly has time. But then it becomes worrisome. If the cave is too deep, it takes too many Featherfalls and he will run out of spell slot before he reaches the ground and then start falling quickly again. If the others are falling, which is quite likely the case, they will go too quickly for them and he will not be able to catch them if they come in between 500 round the speed, meaning he can only catch one of them. So for the second action, what he's going to do, he's going to hold his action in order to, while drifting downwards, go towards the edge. The spell Featherfall specifically mentions that when you fall, you have to land and land with your feet, and then the spell will end. He's going to hold his action, stay close to the edge. As soon as he sees someone else cast Featherfall again, and then also end the spell on himself by putting his feet on this edge of the wall in order that he can redo the Featherfall on the both of them for the same amount of speed.
Okay. Logistically, that is a good strategy. That'll let you cast Featherfall again at the right moment, but what if it's not enough? And it's still farther yet?
Then he will think with his next actions. But for the 2 actions that he has, the time, this is what he's going to do. And for the next actions, I will improvise.
Okay.
But right now, he's just worried that in case someone else comes, he is not quick enough to catch them, as he thinks that he's the only one who might be able to catch them if someone else comes in the first place.
I'm going to add a skill check to this. I'm not going to kill you with a crazy DC, but if somebody's falling, they're going to pass by you at an extreme speed. So, to effectively cast this, I'm going to call a sleight of hand check. If there's another stat you think is appropriate, tell me now or forever hold your peace.
I think Arcana. How to use a spell, how to practice a spell, and how to hold your action to wait for the right amount of time in order to use that spell.
You've practiced those tricky words. You're a talker.
It's going to be an Arcana check with a DC of 15, a reasonable DC.
And doing the math as well, it is indeed incredibly difficult in order to catch someone, as they fall 500 feet around, and they have 60 feet of range, meaning 120 feet of round, meaning 6 seconds, so I probably have about 1.8 seconds in order to catch him. I got a 22.
Okay. Gilfaith and the Golem, which I'm calling him because we've been calling him the Golem.
Sorry, that was my fault. It's Passover. I get to name things Jewish things. It's not Passover when this is airing.
Do you cast it on both of them?
He does not have enough time to distinguish friend from foe. He casts it on anyone he sees. That is his held action.
Gilfaith, as you fall through this pit, suddenly skeletal hands start reaching out from the sides, and you feel you and your other with you crashing against them until you start to slow to a regular pace. And maybe about 60 feet, I will say below Nihilus, because your momentum would have been stopped by these skeletal hands. You see him concentrating on a spell carefully. You see him sweating, trying to hold you from falling down into this, what seems to be endless pit.
Gilfaith, are you alright? Quickly, can you see in the dark?
I cannot, but... And he shuttles out, dancing lights.
Wonderful. Alright, look down. I have to look up. Let me know if there's something. And he tries to prepare it again in case something else happens.
Okay.
Thank you, Nidus.
Concentrating on 3 people's descent, you try to prepare it again. The same spell, waiting for the last person to fall, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Please roll that Arcana check. The DC is going to be an 18, now that you're concentrating on more.
Rolled a 14 for 25.
your concentration just at the right moment as you see a figure starting to emerge. It breaks, you start falling again, and you recast the spell, and this time Dr. Glass crashes through these skeletal hands and is now too falling along with you. You are now all under the effects of Featherfall. Dr. Glass, what are you doing?
So, Dr. Glass is not mad. She's just disappointed. And also she's mad. And as she is falling, in her first turn, because the range is 30 feet, she does a telekinetic pull to try to pull Lady Evelyn down with her. So Lady Evelyn...
She basically has to roll a natural 1 here.
Yeah, well, it's happened before.
It's happened before, and I will roll this for everybody to see.
And all my 29 persuasions got me nowhere, so let's go back to doing something fucking stupid, Wes.
I'm here for it. That's a 9, turning into a 28.
Then I just kind of, like, steal her necklace.
Sleight of hand check.
18 sleight of hand to steal the nicest piece of jewelry she's got telekinetically as I fall to what I think is my death. She's not getting this cameo.
You grab on to a tarnished silver necklace.
Lady Evelyn's not wearing any... Bullshit, she's wearing anything tarnished. How dare you? How dare you?
It is a tarnished silver necklace.
Then it's magical as fuck. All right, I'm sorry. Go on.
Might be.
We're falling toward this here.
And then you fall. Is there anything else? Let's say you have an action during the fall. Is there anything you can do?
It'll be stupid and won't do anything. But yeah, I've got an action. I'm going to waste everyone's time. Like your telemarketers. I have an action? Yeah, I'll use my cane and Nightjar's Nocturne her and try to do some psychic damage on my way out.
Sadly, the distance is far too much now that you've fallen as we...
Then chill touch. Chill touch is 120 feet. I'm gonna chill touch that bitch.
Chill touch her. What's the DC on that?
Stick my undead finger right up her nose. Can't believe she didn't want to talk to me. Just you know how much I charge by the hour?
You're more than 500 feet away.
In one turn?
Yes, that's how quickly you fall in 6 seconds. 500 feet.
What was the damage type she did when she attacked me? Was it psychic?
No. Force.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, so I mean, AC doesn't affect fall damage, does it?
No.
I do nothing. Fine. I'll stop extending things. I get more wine.
The final skeletal hands slow the descent of Dr. Isadora Glass as all 4 of you are lowered. And that earth, the stone, starts to turn to moss and mold. And you see fungal growth along the edges. And finally, you start to see a flat surface. And you see it's littered with skeletons. Piles of them. Even the skeletons are overgrown with this rot and filth. There's an organic nature to this cavern. And finally, as you breach a hole in the ceiling of this domed room, you see these large mushrooms grow over the sides. And besides the skeletons that are on the ground, you observe as there are those that survived maybe long enough to crawl before succumbing to their own injuries in the distance. And you see some suspended from the ceiling, hanging. Sweating profusely, the adrenaline rush still active, and your feet touch the ground. unharmed.
I'm going to rip that bitch's cerebellum out of her shriveled old gut.
I need a moment.
Chancellor, I have so many questions. Why were you with her? Why do you look like this?
I have no memory of anything for a long time.
Gilfaith looks to the others. I can't believe we survived that.
Welcome.
What was all that for? Is she really that bored? She's got a whole island nation to shadow govern.
Son, obviously, she's gone too mad.
She didn't even know we knew anything about her son, though.
Well, I couldn't even say a word. She just destroyed me.
Yes, I would have understood it if she didn't have that kind of power, but she's just fucking mad. Out of her mind.
Gilfaith, not to be rude, but what in the blazes were you doing? And who is this? And are you friend or foe?
I'm Chancellor Legrand. And you'll address me as Chancellor.
Sure.
Oh, my apologies, Chancellor. Should I get you some tea, or would you prefer me not to let you fall to your plummeting death next time? As he is bleeding profusely out of a hole in his stomach.
I go and use my healer's kit on Nihilus.
How much healing does that do?
Minimum 5. I also lean in and say something very comforting, like some adage in Thrumcald as a healing word.
Nihilus. Please take 5 radiant damage.
Wait, from the healer's kit? From a regular, like medical healer's kit?
Very well. He takes 5 as his eyes go up skin and he falls backwards and is unconscious.
No.
The skull, it rips from the chain and it floats into the air. And this time, you feel the reverberation of the voice in the back of your head shiver down your spine, and everybody hears,
Nihilus rise.
And again this time, Nihilus, you come back with 1 health.
What just happened? Nihilus? Nihilus?
It lowers to the ground as the Chancellor, he speaks aloud. Dark magics that you toil with.
But I'm a doctor. I just patched him up. I can't heal him anymore.
He belongs to someone else now.
Mordecai? What have you done?
I saved you again.
I'm guessing we don't hear that.
Yes, you don't hear that.
Dr. Glass said, he saved you like Luminoth saved me, and it looks like you paid a bigger price than I did.
Right. What was just now? You saved me, and then you hurt me, and then you bring me back. Is this your tormenting joy now that I'm in this pit of hells?
Essentially, I mean, I didn't think I was saving you. You were just very hurt. I thought I was
speaking to Mordecai. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Glass.
sorry.
It's all right. Thank you for trying.
The skull, it floats down until it's near your hands. And you take it. And you feel energy. You feel a dark energy. It seeps like a fungus, just like the fungus around you, into your skin.
Try my focus to sap it.
Those wounds that you have, they start to close. But not like the suturing of meat, the singeing of a wound that comes back through healing magic. You see a bubbling, a fungus that closes them. Your skin is now tremendously green and pale. As Nihilus, you alone can level up.
See you, suckers. I'm out. See you next week. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
In this wet cavern, you stand on this pile of bones, over moss, overgrown. You hear a slip, a tumble of a rock in the dark distance. There's somebody with you.
She said that there was something down here. What could that be?
There'd better be a concierge leading us to the suite she's had waiting.
Gilfaith looks at the radiant burns on Chancellor Legrand.
He puts his hand on her shoulder. Yes.
Will you be all right?
For one of his age, even he looks tired. This soul has clearly been through more in a short time than one can handle. He's tired. And with his hand on your shoulder, he squeezes, and his claw-like nails, they dig into your skin. Blood drops out of them. But you don't feel hurt, you feel invigorated. As this figure withers even more before you, his skin pulling even more taut, more wrinkled, his back hunches over, and then he lets go, as you too can level up. Asteria's giving the death glare.
Honestly, it was to myself and what I knew I was about to do.
And Dr. Glass. There is something familiar here. In the mountain.
It's the same mountain.
It's the same mountain. And this time with the exit far, far away. You feel it. The thud. The piercing. The scraping of a mountain-sized horror. Just over your shoulder.
What is it you really want? If you were softening me up for this, now's your moment.
Another pierce into the psychic cosmic void and drag as you feel you can enter this space. It's there. It's right there. And if you close your eyes, you can even turn to look at it. Do you do that?
Yeah. Yes. She is cornered. She spent so much time being told it was all leading up to this, just to be thrown in a garbage chute. If there's something here that's going to tell her why her, why this, she will engage with it.
Pierce, drag, pierce, drag. It grows closer and closer until that distant horror is right before you, right at your feet, a mountain that towers above you. And its claw, it rises into the air over your head.
Hello, my pet. She tried to steal the name I gave you. Can you imagine? That pathetic woman.
The claw pierces just behind you as this darkness, this towering visage, it pulls into a funnel, into a siphon. As it pours into your chest, you can feel it filling that void that has grown within you. The soul that you ferried out into the afterlife left something missing. And now, it's filled. You too can please level up. Everybody sees, hearing this noise in the distance, a clatter of frantic footsteps that know that they have just been heard, running to hide. You see Dr. Glass fall to her knees, conscious. But what you feel is you feel power. That psychic reach, the ability to extend your consciousness ever farther. And that power, it almost feels good, if not dangerous, but not for you, but for anything or anyone who will stand in your way.